Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to part number 2, day number 50 of our 100 days zombie apocalypse survival challenge video. I don't know. Thank you guys so much for all the support on the first video. That video has blown up on my channel and I super appreciate it. Let's get this one to blow up as well. So make sure you guys like and subscribe. Like and subscribe the video. You can't subscribe the video. Subscribe to my channel. Make sure you like the video. Smash that like button as it says. But without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get started. The first thing I decided to do is to craft some more ammo. After that, I kind of ran around for a little while, not sure exactly what I was supposed to be doing. It's been a while since I had played, and kind of opened all my chests just to see what was there. Then I decided, you know what, let's go kill some zombies. And the first one I killed happened to be myself, which was kind of weird. After that, I went exploring a little bit, trying to find something new. Wanted to see if there were some structures or some cool things that I could find. Ended up making my way to a village, which was pretty cool. I don't think I had explored this one previously, so it was nice to find it and explore it. I ended up finding some diamonds, which was nice. I was trying to help this iron golem kill this zombie, and so I took some shots at it, but I accidentally hit the iron golem, and that was not good. Poor guy, he had to be put down in the end. But he was going to put up a good fight, and I almost actually died to him. On day 51, we saw this beautiful rainbow, which was a pretty nice way to start the day. After that, I saw this crocodile, and he came after me, so he had to be put down too. Then I just kept exploring. I ended up finding a beach village, which was pretty cool. They didn't have a whole lot of stuff in their chests, but some food and bread. Nothing really special. But then I found this castle, which was pretty cool. The castle had some pretty good loot inside. It had various weapons and resources, a throne room, and even had some enchanted books, which would come in handy later. After exploring the castle, I just went to bed for the night. It's now day 52, and I took some time to defend the castle, which I stayed in, and then I decided to keep exploring, but the zombies were hot on my tail, and I had to lose them in the field. It wasn't until I made it across the river that they finally stopped chasing me. I ended up finding some coal and various resources while exploring. On day 54, I made it back home, and I decided to do some zombie killing. These traps that I had made in front of these gates really made it easy to farm zombies in the night. This day in particular, I think it was a blood moon, and there were so many zombies, and it took so long to kill them. The difficulty rating really increased since the last time we were on. The next day, I really started working on Create. I wanted to redo the Create mod that we had started in our cave, so I put down some water wheels and I put down some water so they could turn, trying to get the Create mod up and running so hopefully we can get some of those nether items that we couldn't get before. I accidentally walked into this blue flame like an absolute idiot, and then I made a propeller so I can make this fan that hopefully can turn andesite into blackstone. On day 56, I started mining some wood to turn into charcoal, and always good to kill a few zombies. We actually had a horde come, and they got really close to breaking into our base. These trident guys were a particular pain in the butt, since their tridents did a lot of damage and they could throw them so far. The next morning, we went and collected all the loot that we'd gotten from the horde, and decided, you know what, let's go do a little more exploring. We made our way through the forest, over the ice, and eventually made it back to a village. There seemed to be a plethora of villages in this mod pack. Again, nothing really special in it, and after exploring it thoroughly, I went to sleep. The next couple of days, I just kept exploring, running around, trying to find something interesting. Eventually, I made my way into this giant cave, and it had tons of dripstone, copper, and other resources. The next day, I made my way to another village. Again, they were everywhere. Nothing really special in it again. There was a cat. I thought about naming the cats that were in the village, but I didn't have any fish, so they got left behind. After that, I decided to kill some cows for their leather to make books so we could upgrade our enchanting station. And once the cows ran out, well, it was time to kill the horses. No cow, no horse was left spared. After that, I decided to return to that castle that I found. I didn't feel like I had explored all the buildings and all the structures thoroughly enough, so I went back to see what else I had missed. Ended up finding some food. I took this milk bucket just in case I got some kind of potion effect that I didn't like, and it might come in handy. Most of these houses and structures just had food in them. After exploring the whole thing, I woke up on day 61, ready to keep exploring and see what else was in here. I did find a bunch of bookshelves, which would be really helpful for upgrading our enchanting station. In my exploration, I found this other giant cave, and it was really huge and full of tons of mobs. I'll definitely have to come back and explore this later. On day 62, I decided to make my way back home. Done with exploring, there are some chores I needed to get done. Finally made it back towards the end of the day, and I completely failed that jump, but that won't be the first time that happens. I decided to upgrade my zombie trap, add a few sweet berries to the bottom that will hopefully kill the zombies automatically during the night. I upgraded all of my traps, and then after that I just organized my inventory. I decided it'd be a good idea to plant a tree farm. That way I don't have to tear down all the beautiful trees that make my home feel like home. Next, I turned all my books into bookshelves to make our enchanting station. We were able to get our enchanting up to level 22. I decided to expand the zombie traps just a little more, and this guy really wanted to get me while I was trying to do it, but he eventually fell into the trap. It seemed like the sweet berries were really working very well, killing the zombies, and hopefully this would just turn into automation. As you can see, it works perfectly. Next, I decided to see what kind of endgame weapons would I have. I figured for sure we need to build this minigun. It would take a lot of gun parts, a lot of resources, a lot of diamonds, but I think it would be totally worth it to have a minigun for the finale. The next morning, I decided to make an airplane. With the various mods I had installed, you can make different planes and parts, and so I decided to get all the resources I'd need to make myself a biplane. I went down into the lush cave that was close to our house where we had started, and collect some of the resources that I had left. There were quite a few zombies down there, but they were easy to take care of. I got tons of iron, And right after that, I got attacked by another horde of zombies. These zombie traps really are going to be my lifesaver throughout the whole of this series. The next day, I decided to smelt all the resources that I gathered the day before, and finally, after getting all the parts together, I was able to craft a biplane. I decided to test out my plane and see if I could fly somewhere cool and see some new stuff. But I realized I don't know how to fly this, and I don't know what buttons to push. So now I just gotta try to outrun the zombies. I also realized I don't know how to get out, which is a problem. After looking up the controls, I was able to get out of the plane and actually defend myself from the zombies that wanted to eat my face. After sleeping off the night, in the morning I repaired my plane, which was heavily damaged from the zombies. Looked up the controls to figure out how to actually fly the thing, which took a little bit of getting used to, and I realized I actually need fuel to power the plane. So I harvested some of my trees to get charcoal, cured my infection, cleared out my inventory from all the zombie guts, why are there trees in my pig pan? Who planted those there? After that, I went back to my plane, repaired it, put the fuel in it, so now I could actually fly. And now we were ready to go, ready to fly for the first time in our zombie apocalypse series. Well, bummer. Let's see, what is the button for fly? Alright, now we're ready this time. Put the fuel in, start up the engine. Make sure we push the right button, and we have liftoff. We are now flying in the zombie apocalypse. After flying for a good while, I tried to land my plane as gently as possible. In the morning, I repaired it, fixed it up, and decided to go fly even more. I mean, if you own a plane, why not fly? I did tons of exploring in the plane, looking around for different things, and I ended up finding the mine shaft from the previous video. Found a few villages, and I even scouted out some of these mountains for resources with the plane. After a long day of flying, I returned home and looked up a few upgrades for my airplane. I decided to upgrade the zombie trap just a little bit more, made an easier way to collect. Guess what I did on day 67? I fixed my airplane, loaded up the upgrades, and then I had to defend it from some zombies. I decided to craft a little bit more ammo, and after that I went flying. I really wanted to go mine out those mountains that I find of their resources. But it was getting late, so I decided to go to sleep for the night and start in the morning. It's now day 68, and there were tons of resources in these mountains to mine. I also found a huge clay deposit at the top, which would be perfect to make bricks for my clay turrets. I really wanted to go across this valley to get to that iron and coal over there, so I started bridging, but then, what am I doing? I have an airplane. So I got in my airplane instead of bridging across and just flew. I crash landed into the other mountain, took a nap, and now on day 69, I decided to mine the resources. Not much else happened that day, but one funny thing, I placed this water so I could go down into this cave that was below me, and when I came back to it, my water froze. After that, I just went home. After sunrise on day 70, I decided to smelt up some of the resources that I had gathered the day before. I made a few more gunmetal parts, and we were going to need 64 diamonds to get a minigun motor. The next day, I decided my zombie trap needed one more upgrade. I needed to make an automatic collection system. So I got some hoppers and some chests, and I placed those in the bottom of my trap. Next, I took all my gold armor that was taking up a lot of space in the inventory and decided to smelt them down into gold nuggets. Then I smelted up all the clay that I had gotten into bricks and collected some more wood to turn into charcoal. After that, I decided to make a brick drone. The turret mods I had added these drones, but I didn't know if they were any good, so let's test it out. Well, so far so good. It's flying around and killing the zombies. It is getting awfully close to them, though. But it is still getting them. Oh, it's in the hole. Oh, it's out of the hole. Is it any good? I refilled it with a few more bricks, and, well, it's almost dead. Maybe this thing isn't that good after all. Let's make it a mobile. Let's see if that works. Do you move now? If I put bricks back in you, what happens? Nope, you just go back to them and hover around them like crazy. And he's dead. Nice. After that, I just had to kill all the zombies manually and see if my collection system was working, and it looks like it is. Day 72, I went back to my airplane to go on another fly. After repairing it, because apparently it had gotten badly damaged in our last flight. Can't imagine why, after smacking into so many mountains. I started up the engines and took off as fast as I could before the zombies could get me. I went back to our local village to see if our arms dealer sold the minigun motor that we would need for the minigun, and apparently I'd have to upgrade him a bit before he did. I checked on our farmer villagers to see what trades they had, and this guy wanted carrots for emeralds, and this guy wanted wheat. He also wanted beetroots and rice, but both of those I didn't like growing. After that, I took off in my airplane to head back home, and I decided to upgrade my farm so we'd have enough space to plant the wheat and the carrots we need to get the emeralds for the minigun motor. I decided to plant wheat on one half of the farm. I started bone mealing and growing all of my carrots because we were going to need an absolutely astounding number of them to get the minigun motor that we would need. I did the math, and to get the minigun motor, we were going to need 1,408 carrots to get the minigun motor. That's a lot of carrots. After that, I took a break from carrot farming to farm some zombies. And the next day, on day 73, I took to the skies again to go check on my villagers. And for some reason, this guy wasn't buying carrots anymore. What happened? Why did you quit your job as a farmer? I let it be known at this point that I really don't know how villagers work. I'm not good at working with villagers, and I really had no idea what was going on. So I found another villager and turned him into a farmer, and tried again and again to make him I really hate villagers. I tried making him into a farmer again and again, and with no luck each single time. Until finally, he gave us what we wanted. So I took all my carrots and I sold them to get as many emeralds as possible. Next, I pushed him into a hole, covered him up, and marked him so I'd be able to find him later. After that, I collected my bones, turned it into bone meal, and it was back to carrot farming. Day 74, I'm still carrot farming. I went back to the farmer to collect as many emeralds as I could. And then I decided to go exploring. I ended up back at that mine shaft and wanted to do a little bit more research as to what was inside of it. It had a pretty nice cave inside at one point, and there was tons of iron in it. It turned out to be a massive cave, and it even had a weird structure inside of it. First thing I did was break the spawner, and then I got all the resources from the chests. I also took this banner, which I thought would make a cool addition to our base. The next few days I spent down in this cave just gathering resources, fighting zombies. My main goal for exploring these caves is to find netherite scraps, which I can use to upgrade my armor to netherite. While exploring the cave, I found this awesome mineshaft down here. It was huge and it had tons of good loot inside of it. I ended up finding some netherite scraps, which was pretty cool. Though I think I lost one of the pieces, not sure how. Right after that, I almost died to this single zombie, which was kind of embarrassing. Then I immediately died to an actual single zombie, which was really embarrassing. When I made it back home, I decided to make a new sword. Upgrade some of my armor. And then it was back down into the mines. Everything was going pretty well after that, but then this happened. Yep, died again. I kept exploring the caves, trying desperately to look for more netherite scraps, but I really had zero luck finding it, though I did find diamonds and other good loot. Eventually I had to give up on the idea of getting netherite armor and go back home. On day number 80, I was back from mining from the caves and decided to organize my inventory and smelt up a bunch of stuff. Day 81, I continued farming carrots and trying to sell them to my farmer, but he didn't want to take my carrots anymore. Weird. I decided to build a runway at the village since I'd be coming back here a lot. There we go. That looks pretty good. I decided to get some resources so I could build a kind of matching runway at my house. I worked with the villagers, trying to get him to have a place to sleep and hopefully he'd restock his supplies. The next day, I started working on the runway at my house. I broke all the ice, placed down the blocks, and really wanted this thing to look good. I had to defend it from zombies a few times, but after a lot of hard work and lots of blocks placed, we finally got it finished. Here's the village runway, and here's my runway. Beautiful. It was now day 84, and I went back to the villager to trade, but he still wouldn't trade his carrots. So I went hunting for hay bales in all the villages that I had passed. While I was searching for hay bales and villages, I found these really awesome floating islands. On the morning of day 85, I decided to land on one and explore it to see what it had. There were tons of zombies here though. I guess this was the only place they could spawn. So I abandoned that island and I went to this one that had the cool tower on it. I landed on the tower and looked around for a way in. There was great loot inside these chests. I decided to take some of this amethyst and some of these carpets because I figured they'd make great additions to my base. I also took these lanterns, which I'm definitely going to use and not forget about. And I descended down, but there were tons of zombies down at the lower levels. I spent most of my time just trying to clear out a path, a place where I could rest, and eventually I was able to block off the door. But then I made a fatal mistake when I placed that block, because now it gave the zombies a path back inside. Now it was a challenge just to do anything. I had to close off that door if I wanted to get the stuff that was in here. But the zombies just kept coming, and eventually they learned how to climb ladders. Eventually, I was able to make it to the door and break the block, but I had to retreat once again. I was able to block off the door eventually by mining above it, but I still had all these zombies to kill. Finally, I killed the last one, and I was able to loot this bottom level of the tower. Day 86, I decided to check on what was outside the tower. I tried to do a bit of exploring, but apparently that was the worst decision I ever made. After that, I pillared back up to the top, got in my airplane, and said goodbye to the Cherry Islands. It was weird, right after that, and right underneath them, was another dungeon. So, I landed my plane, and started to explore the dungeon. First, I made a little platform so I'd have a place to land and to walk. I made a furnace so I could make some charcoal to turn into torches. Repaired my armor. And took a look inside the dungeon. And immediately said, "This is not for me," and ran out. I also found this weird cobweb dungeon, but there wasn't anything in it. And that brings us to day 87. Not sure what bit I was trying to do with looking at the camera here, but here it is. I placed my banner that I had gotten from the dungeon a while back, and it looked good. I organized my inventory, and then I went about killing some more zombies. After that, I finally upgraded my enchanting table to level 30. And I decided to use some of these amethyst blocks that I had gathered to upgrade my base a little bit, give it a facelift. Now just listen to the sound of amethyst. After that, I decided to harvest some of my wheat, hopefully get a few more emeralds the next day. And here's what the base looks like. Day 89, I'm not sure why, but there was this huge horde of zombies guarding my airplane, but I was able to lead them all into the water. And apparently, zombies don't swim very well. I went back to the village, tried to trade for carrots, but he wasn't taking them, so I just traded my wheat. After that, I went back home, checked my zombie trap to get for bones. On day number 90, I decided to get ammo from the arms dealer to upgrade him to level 2 so he could sell the minigun motor, and he gave us a discount. It was only 43 diamonds instead of 64. I tried to get my farmer to trade for carrots, but he wasn't having it. But then a harvest moon came, so I went back home to farm my carrots because of the increased yields. Ah! Okay, that genuinely scared me. Apparently, a mutant zombie had made his way finally to our base, and he wanted my head. This was the perfect opportunity to take down a mutant zombie, because they are super hard to kill, and I really didn't want to fight one face to face. But apparently they are super hard to kill, and they just keep resurrecting. But eventually, this guy finally went down. After collecting all his loot, I went around to the front and I fell into my zombie trap. And you can guess what happened. On day 91, I found another farmer who was selling carrots, or buying carrots, I should say, and I was able to sell him all mine and get some emeralds. After that, I went looking for the arms dealer because I wanted to buy the minigun motor from him, and it's a great thing that I did because something special happened right after I bought it. The arms dealer turned into a zombie and he started to kill me. So I'm glad I was able to get the minigun motor before he turned. And with that, I was finally able to craft the minigun. I also decided to craft this sniper rifle, just to have something extra in the final battle. Now we had both of these awesome weapons, and it's a good thing we did, because that night we had a special visitor. A horde of zombies were approaching, and they were super tough. They got me down so low so many times, and they even were able to breach the walls of my base. At one point, some of them even got inside, and that was pretty scary. But slowly and surely, I was able to pick them off, and I didn't even die a single time. I was able to clean up all the stragglers by the next day, and I did a sweep around my house to take away the trees that they were using to get inside my base. Then I crafted tons of minigun ammo since it goes through so much, and basically went AFK. But I did go get some sand and some cobblestone, which we would need for the big finale. Then I went to work on day number 94, working on what the finale would be. I dug some tunnels underneath my base, and placed down some redstone. I tested the redstone to make sure it all worked properly. Then I placed down some TNT. I decided to frame the Hulk hammer that we had gotten, just as a nice memory. Then on day number 95, I went flying and decided, you know what, let's take on that watery dungeon that we had found. At least give it a shot before the end of the challenge. It was pretty hard to clear out all the rooms, and I had to block off all these tunnels that zombies kept pouring out of. I did find a secret chest, so after breaking the spawner, I was able to get a little bit of loot. And it was pretty easy to kill some of the zombies underneath these wood. After doing that, I descended down, and there was even more zombies, of course, but we took them out, and it was all going pretty well, at least relatively speaking. The worst part of this whole dungeon was these little baby zombies. They were an absolute pain. I kept exploring just to see what was here, and there's some cool rooms inside this dungeon. It was all going pretty well until right about now. On day 96, I decided to make a car since I had lost my biplane at the water dungeon since I had died. So I started getting all the pieces I would need for it. I got the redstone, I got the stone, I got leather, copper, and all the other pieces as well. And I was able to make a car, and I added my banner to it. I figured a flag at the end would look cool. Then it was time to take it for a test drive. The car actually moved very well. I was very surprised at how well it handled the terrain. And it could even do something cool. It could drive underwater, and you could barely even tell that it was underwater. I actually spent the entire night traveling by car, and by the time day came, I was hopelessly lost. And it came to a point where I actually drove my car into the water, and I got it stuck, so I had to walk all the way back home. As I was walking home on day 98, I came across a couple bears, and they totally shot first, so I just had to shoot them. So at this point, my recording software stopped recording, and I don't have the recording of the last 3 days. Basically, I accidentally exploded my base before the big finale. I just got things ready for it, didn't really miss much, but I guess this is the end. Psh, you thought that was the end? Come on, guys. Let's go. Trick shot. Trick shot. Alright, let's take you down with our fist. Come on. Here we go. Y'all are no match for me. Definitely got this katana legitimately. I didn't take it from creative mode. Come on. You guys mean nothing to me. Let's go. Minigun. Ah! Let's go. Run away. Minigun. 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 Ah. Chicken, die. Ah. Come on. You'll never take me alive. Bang. 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 Die, pillagers. Die. Die. Trick shot 360. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the finale of the video. Make sure you like and subscribe. Catch us on the next video. And I guess we'll see you guys later. Trick shot. Ugh.